We are running short of time, but I want to talk about one more thing. Then we can now conclude the discussion however you want. You can comment about this, or you can comment about President Uhuru Kenyatta being in charge, and then we can conclude and call it a night. So this is a tweet that was put up by Bill Okero. He is a former member of parliament for Mandera. He did a good job as a shadow finance minister. And this is what Bill Okero tweeted regarding the debt that Raila Odinga says that he's owed. So he said, from my basic knowledge in finance, old debts are more difficult to collect than recent ones, not to mention statutory limitation period that would have been exceeded. Good people learn to write off bad debts. Dr. Ojwang.
Yeah, no, Bill Okero is wrong. I believe that moral debt never expires.
Okay, this is a moral debt.
He might be looking at the, he might be looking at the formality of contracts and all those formality. But I think that Africans used to operate even before the formal contract. I think that, of course, Bill Okero will talk of maybe secured debts versus secure lender and unsecured lender. Maybe Raila's debt was unsecured. But I think that there is a debt owed, and that is a moral debt.
Where do we start from? Where do we start paying it from?
Appear to,
where do we start paying it from?
You start from... maybe people can join the line, but you see, because it's also a dilemma, because the favorite verse in Mount Kenya is, yes, forgive us our debtors, we forgive our debtors.
Yes.
But to be honest, there is a debt, and of course you know that the latest debt is what they have picked to start with. Okay. Maybe there will come the line to get to the Prime Minister. But finally, Ken, I think it is very bad politics. It is almost impossible to organize a country when you can easily lie and tell this person, I'm going to do A, and then you don't do it, because it is a matter of governance. And as they say in the US, if you can lie in one thing, you can lie in one thing. If you lied in Raila's debt, you can lie in every other debt. So Raila is owed a debt. That debt might not be met fully, but it can be secured in a way that it can. But it's a moral debt, and it doesn't expire.
Moral debt doesn't expire. Thank you very much, Dr. Ojwang. Simeha, first in line, I know this is an argument, and I'll put two more arguments. We have the argument about community should lead, a different community should lead. Then we have a lead, and then we have the argument of probably we should change even the sex people who lead. Now there's this about debt, if you have to pay debt first, and that accrues from I am in charge. So probably I am in charge could also be I am naming my successor. You know, I'm just fishing now. I'm fishing.
I think if you find, if and when, actually I should say when you find, please do find time and read the BBI report, but put aside the constitutional amendment bill and read the policy doctrines and policy guides. You'll find some stuff in there that speaks to this thing about the need for equity, the need to inclusivity, to give other people opportunity, to bring in, to acknowledge that there's been unfairness in this nation in terms of governance, both political governance and economic governance. So there's a lot that we ought to speak about in terms of where we've come from as a nation and where we ought to go. Secondly, I also believe, like Ojwang, that there is a debt. But what surprised me, that this kind of debts, moral debts, the one who is owed rarely reminds those who owe them. Normally, it would be best if it's coming from those who owe, so that they are saying, we are indebted to you, or someone else reminding them, by the way, you are indebted to this gentleman. It was a little strange to me, in my humble opinion, for someone who is owed to bring this out themselves. I would have thought that they would just remain humble and send subtle signals and let other people speak for them. But then, sorry, go on.
And I wanted to ask, if it was to be paid, where does it start?
Incidentally, I'm just coming to that. Yeah. If it is to be paid, it should not be something that is limited and focused on individuals.
Okay.
That because we owe you, that because we either wronged you or we deserved to have done, you deserved for us to have done something for you and we didn't do it, can we together do it for this nation? That is how we pay you back. We don't say that we zero in on you as an individual and seek to pay you, but we do things in such a manner that we are changing.
Okay.
We are reforming for the sake of the nation.
Okay.
And if in the process you become an individual beneficiary, so be it, that would be good for the nation.
Okay.
And I'm just feeling it's not nice, you know. I owe this to Barry from what he said, Ken. I'm just afraid that we might let it go.
Yeah, we have run out of time.
What he said about it is not too late.
Okay, to
It
begin.
is not too late for us to pick the pieces as a nation and continue with that attempt, even if the one we tried was lame duck and whatever, but continue with this attempt of a national conversation for the sake of this nation.
All right, and finally, they have taken all your minutes, but even as you respond to this debt, I'd like to remind you that just like paying a debt is a moral obligation, forgiveness is a moral obligation. When I wrong you, it's my moral obligation to come and ask for forgiveness. Bara.
Yes, I can also forgive you even when you do not ask for forgiveness. I can seek peace within myself by forgiving those who wrong me without them coming to me. Where do we start with this? And I agree with my two colleagues that there are moral debts. Raila Odinga is owed a debt, Musalia Mudavadi is owed a debt, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, William Ruto, they are all owed debts. There's an African story about an old man who goes to another old man to ask him to repay his debt, and he tells him that the sun will shine on those who stand before it shines on those who kneel below them. You can find it in the first chapter of Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. It is up to President Uhuru Kenyatta to define who is standing and who is sitting, and therefore repay the debts. This man says he will repay his big debts first, and Uhuru Kenyatta has got that moral obligation of finding out who he owes the biggest debts. So finally, a presidential endorsement, that the president comes and says that I'm endorsing so-and-so as my successor, does not necessarily make you president. We have seen that in this country before, in the case of Uhuru Kenyatta himself. And as Baraka, I get very puzzled when I see people who behave as if they are in the opposition, also craving endorsement by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Can they decide that they can chart their own path and persuade Kenyans to vote for them without seeming to crave this endorsement by Uhuru Kenyatta? On the one hand, they are criticizing him, and this is right across the board. Raila Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, my good friend Moses Wetangula, they say this government has failed here and there, but at the same time they want the same government to endorse them. I cannot understand. I cannot reconcile those two.
Gentlemen, a good point to end our discussion tonight. The discussion still continues. We are still months to the election, and I know we can't just end it here, but for the night we have to end. Thank you everyone for watching. Meresha await your sign language interpreter tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Juang on the other side, Barak Muluka, and of course Joe Simeha for coming to share your opinions with us. And of course we go offline, or we go off air, but remember the conversation still continues online. My name is Ken Mijungu. Have a good night. Let's do this same time, same place next week. Have a good